Hey YouTube, this is Whitewoods 2 doing a Dutch bucket update on, I believe this is the 13th of May on a Monday evening. So tickled to finally have the system completed. I'll just give you a quick walkthrough of what we got going here. It's a 27-gallon reservoir. You can see the black pipe coming up out of there, which takes nutrients to each one of these Dutch buckets. Every one of these are 4 gallons, and all but 2 of them have a lid. I had lids for everything originally, but you can see I cut a T in there, came over to this row, teed off, went down that way, and I think I've succeeded in overloading the little pump. But I stick my hand in the top of each of the buckets, and I can seem to find moisture and water up there. So maybe it's doing it. I just want to see it spewing nutrients and water out, and it's just not going to do it with this many buckets. 24 on the system is probably not that bad. The water level doesn't seem to be going down very quickly. I did do a complete cleanup today. You see those orange buckets sitting over there. It took 5 buckets to take an additional pump and drop in there beside the one that's actually running the system, and just pumped it out into each one of these buckets, and did a reservoir cleanup. Had a little bit of debris that had landed down in there, but let me just show you one thing I did. Here's the little pump that we're using. This is an Eco Plus 64. I don't know if you can read that or not. I'll read it for you. Submersible, and it only uses 17 watts of energy. I think the timer uses more than that, but this is submersible, even with the electric cord on it. You can drop it down in there, and it's not recommended, but I did have my hand in the water with it energized today, and didn't even feel a tingle or anything. So I made it. You may not. Be careful. This is the black poly tubing that comes in irrigation type setup. Take a little tool and poke a hole in it to access a line for a Dutch bucket. Notice this little spout coming off right here. I thought that was to allow air to be ingested into the system, but it mentions it in the owner's manual, and this seems the only one that fits these, but actually it pressurizes water and spews water out that hole, which could be run up with a 1/4-inch line, could be run up to the top of the reservoir and headed back down into the reservoir, allowing it to stream water and air, entrain some air back into the system. So that might be good. I haven't successfully used that. I did try it, but I thought it was going to suck air, but it's not. It's shooting water in. But anyway, here's one way. I took one of these 5-gallon filter bags and put it on each one of these, and as I pumped my reservoir out, everything filtered through this bag into the 5-gallon bucket, and then I'd move it over to the next bucket, and the next bucket, and the next bucket. So I had about 24 gallons that I pulled out, and I've got the remains. The dirtiest is the last, and I towel wiped out the inside of the reservoir. Probably going overboard a little bit, but I wanted it nice and clean again. And put 2 5-gallon nutrients in there fresh, and put these 4 back. I don't know if that math works out, but anyway, you can see the tomatoes seem to be enduring the pretty warm days that we're having. We're getting up into the 80s now, and lows at night are around 50 degrees. So lots of suckers coming out on the bottom of these plants, even where I've de-limbed them due to the frost nipping that was occurring. Here's a sunflower where I had the bird seed up, and that's gone now. But anyway, going to have to be doing some de-suckering pretty soon. Getting some blooms, which is kind of nice. This one on the end here looks like 3 blooms bloomed out today, and then here's one on top of this one. Trying to figure out which kind they are. And then I saw a few more in other spots. So we are getting some blooming going on. I'll start spanking these tomatoes. If you hadn't heard what that is, you can find that online. It's kind of hilarious, but hey, there's a bloom right there fixing to happen. But anyway, very excited to get the drain system in. I will say this, I've done a lot of plumbing in my life, and this is such a short run and small setup and large pipe. Let me just show you the end of this pipe. This is something special right here. If you're not a plumber, you're not going to be familiar with this. This is what's called a knockout plug. And these are used when you have to test a plumbing system when you're building a house or whatever. But anyway, when you get done with the test, you simply take a hammer, carefully knock and pry this out. And the little end piece stays glued in. You put your fitting on and take off with another pipe to finish the system, hook it on up. But those are really nice for just a simple, cheap way of closing the end of a pipe and starting your drain system. So I told you I put these in level, and we're 14 feet long there. Normally you would have a 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch drop per foot, and as you know, that would be several inches, which would effectively cut that second 2x4 down there pretty seriously, a gouge down into it. And I wanted it for support of all the buckets in this big 2x12. So what I did is I put the system in level, allowing the nutrients themselves to create the fall and just flow naturally to an opening on the far end. So I haven't had any leakage out the top of the pipe. So basically internally you've got 2 inches of fall built into the pipe itself. Notice here there's a bolt and a block of wood. I simply took a block of wood and supported this in the center, and it does exactly the same thing that the A-frame support does on the ends. So this pipe is perfectly level, and then each setup, the way I had to do it with the fall in the driveway, each setup it didn't have my good level. It was it's being stored where we're doing a house construction for my son on the weekend. So anyway, I didn't have my good level, so I found a $2 plastic level with a straight vial bubble, and believe it or not, this system works perfectly, and you can get a pretty good job in with just some simple tools. You don't have to have a $50 level like the one I use for construction. You can use a $2 level to do this sort of stuff. So anyway, this is aluminum foil out of the kitchen. Simply wrap half of the bucket. Use some construction. This foil tape. I was introduced to this foil tape on the construction side as well. A buddy of mine in the heating and air conditioning business used this foil tape in very heavy duty, some of it wider than this, but you can find this at Lowe's and even at Walmart in an area where they have duct tape and adhesives. And just peel the paper off and stick it on there. But I found out to wrap it with aluminum foil, we're trying to keep sunlight out of the buckets and keep algae growth to a minimum. And we're getting a little algae growth on top, and who knows about the rest of the bucket, but hopefully that creates some darkness in there for the root system. And then the bottom, you just fold it around like you're wrapping a present. Use some of that sticky foil tape on the bottom just to hold things in place. But anyway, not all of them turn out perfectly, but it doesn't really matter. Plants don't care. So anyway, folks don't necessarily know about stringing up tomatoes. I learned it recently myself in the last couple of years, but tomatoes, being a vine, are very simple to wrap around the string, and somehow or another it just seems to do a great job supporting it. Just the fact that you're wrapping it around the tomato. So you can look on YouTube. There are lots of videos that show you supporting tomato vines with string, and if in the case of doing 2 main stems like some people, and I think I'm going to do that. I've heard that it can double your production by essentially making 2 plants out of 1, and simply have to allow one of the suckers to grow out and give you a secondary stem, and then throw in another string to support that. I like the little trellis clips that I see that capture the string and go under a leaf stem coming off the main vine on tomatoes. But oh boy, anyway, we're at the point now where we're just now getting those suckers to grow out. The plants are kicking in and just doing really well. I'm so pleased with them. Wow, this is a long video. So that's about it for now. The drain system in, I've got a little cantilever on here going on. That's pretty strong pipe. If I see it drooping, well, I may add some more supports underneath, but other than the two outer ones, on that 14-foot stretch, I only have a single central support going on with a treated tube before, and a single bolt, and a quarter-inch bolt holding it up. But it seems to be working. Like I say, I wish the pump would actually spew a little more water when I open these up and look inside. This is the last one, the furthest from the pump. Let's just see if we can find any water up here. I can already feel moisture just prying the cap up, and I've got my hand in here now, looking for that water. I'm not sure if it's time for the system to be running. Okay, I'm getting water dripping off the top of the bucket, and this is an early grow. Okay. It's the top off a plant, and it was that plant was topped on April the 3rd. So, you know, it's getting some age on it. About 6 weeks there since it was being cloned, and I'm going to check what time it is. And it says that the system is on, but I sure didn't see any spewing out there. We'll get a little bit closer, and here's a couple that are on open top. I've got to find the lids for these. And can you see the water coming out there? It seems when I lift them up that they that just the change in a couple of inches of altitude make it stop. Or maybe it's just coming out back here by my hand. I did punch multiple holes in the little cheap quarter-inch line, and so anyway, it just doesn't seem to be doing much. Oh yeah, it's dripping and then coming out over there, but I just don't see that exact same amount of water happening all around. So that's a little bit of concern. I'm trying to think which one this one is. But it had a sticker. 28th of April planted. Okay. About all I got and all we get. I guess that's a Rutgers there. But anyway, got a few replacement plants. I may put in a few earth boxes. Get a little industrious, but looks like we're going to have some tomatoes. Here's a pot of Celebrity coming on, and there's my hand. About 2.5 inches, would you say? Not about 2 inches that direction. About 4 there, a couple over here, and lots of blooms up on top that haven't popped yet. Anyway, that's about it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope your efforts at gardening this year are successful, and we'll give you an update when time warrants.